Now, when it comes to Drake, if you are ready to see how things are really getting bad for Drake, and well, he is threatening to release new music, which, well, now we have officially gotten from him as he played a brand new song that he is seemingly getting ready to drop to continue the Iceman rollout. Well, before we go any further, as this song will be the one that if it fails, Drake is going to be forever done, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so everybody can see how things are really getting bad for Drake, as seemingly right now in the middle of the night and at about 3 a.m. in Toronto, well, Drake showed that he was working on some music, or at the very least trying to record himself looking cool while listening to music. Well, now with Drake trying to look cool and hype something up while he thought he maybe was creating rap's next viral snippet, what I didn't think he realized is that he is creating rap's next all-time meme. Because just seriously look at this. And now with this song that Drake played, you would think after all the tension around his name, all of the pressure that is on him, and well, the timetable, which is getting smaller and smaller, for Drake to actually drop Iceman and make any sort of an impact or any sort of an impression with it at all, you would think maybe Drake would do the one thing that people have actually asked him to do, which is to actually rap and look normal. But nope, Drake didn't do that, and instead, he is just looking like an absolute loser on the camera, trying to do whatever you want to call this. And well, he's doing it all to a song that comparatively makes Doghouse look like Doggy Style, which one looked like the Carter One, and what did I miss Illmatic as? Seriously, when you hear Drake playing this new record, I mean, man, what did they do to this guy? He is seriously so messed up. As for those who did not hear the song, which honestly, even though it's only 21 seconds, I am going to say do not listen to it if you don't want to put yourself through that garbage. Well, Drake is really showing now that between Doghouse and even Which One, and now what we are hearing here, Drake is genuinely abandoning rap, and he's not chasing any sort of a bag that's even remotely catchy and even adjacent to something like No Sedeka, which did give him some momentum, you could say. But honestly, with what we hear from Drake and with this terrible warped up garage band demo production, well, when you hear this being an instrumental which is already headache inducing in of itself, what it sounds like here is Drake doing an impression of Yeet, doing an impression of Drake in the Views era. And listen, if that makes sense to any of you, well, I think you can tell that that is not a good thing. And really, especially for the time we are at with Drake, you know, you just do question the sense of urgency around the severity of the situation he is in right now on all levels, and just what could potentially come of all of this, and what it could mean for the future of his career. Because honestly, with this song that just sounds so bad, and while it's just not fitting the moment right now because everybody is asking for fire, and while all you are delivering is ice, but not like in the cool way or in the Mr. Freeze way that you're trying to say you are, but like literally you're ice cold and all you're doing is missing. Well, hearing this from Drake, it genuinely does make you wonder if he is trolling or if there is some sort of an elaborate thing he is really trying to pull off and deceive everybody into thinking. Because, like, honestly, it was just the combination of how bad the music is and how clearly unaware Drake is of how terrible it is. That's just the only possible explanation that I could really make of this. Because if Drake is seriously sitting out here and playing this garbage and actually thinks that this is going to be the one to break the streak of owls, and this is going to be the one to save his career, and this is going to be the one, well, to just make people care about Iceman and the name Drake in 2025, I don't know, man, we're seriously in more trouble than we could have ever expected. Because there is just no way that, again, Drake doing an impression of Yeet, doing an impression of himself is going to be the thing that saves his career or gives him any sort of a momentum whatsoever. And, you know, when you really just look at the snippet that Drake has teased into seemingly showing
that it's going to be the next single on the Iceman project, or it's going to be on the Iceman record as a whole. And well, honestly, the only way I can describe it and try to make it sound is that it's like Drake doing a bad impression of The Weeknd, doing an impression for Drake to then copy from him, which was what happened in the Take Care era. Well, just even when I talk like that, and you could so far read the room, and you see that besides from the grown men cheerleading door dashers like DJ Akademiks, well, nobody is really feeling the song. And just with the way that Drake is moving and even presenting this thing with this cringe snippet, which is the opposite of iconic, who is going to tell him, well, ultimately all of this is only plummeting his value more? Well, with all of this, and as we discussed yesterday, Drake really is at the point where the time is ticking and he has to make a decision and he has to figure out how to take control of this Iceman rollout once again. And, well, just do something that's going to save his music career on any level. Well, really, somehow, after hearing the snippet, I really do have all of the less faith in Drake than I did yesterday. And I say that and I stand on it because when you hear this record and really hear Drake try to do an impression of Yeat doing an impression of himself, it feels like, or it's just like Drake trying to recreate the magic of what The Weeknd created for him. Well, I discussed this in my last video, which is that now with DJ Akademiks pretty much all but confirming that Drake is not going to be working with any other artist and have any other features on the Iceman album, which, well, it means that it's going to be the first album of Drake's career where we are just hearing him. Well, with that, and especially in 2025, Drake is playing a massive risk, and honestly, it's one of the most foolish decisions of his career. And if this song is any proof of what's to come, it's showing us that this thing is really going to be a disaster, and this thing honestly is going to bottom out faster than anybody ever could have expected. And the reason why I say that is because with all of the Drake records recently, whether it's For All the Dogs, DLB, even honestly Nevermind to an extent, in terms of the people helping write the songs and the people he was stealing from, and with even Her Loss, the clear driving factor between all of those records, that the only thing that gave the project any sort of a character to the weird hype beast fans who kept getting more immature with Drake, and who kept getting weirder and weirder also, well, all does come down to the factor that with these records, Drake has been able to age in reverse because he is copying other artists who do tend to be younger than him styles, and well, just running with them to try to make his own projects look cool. As seriously, with every single recent Drake album, you can pinpoint the very songs and style that he is biting from pretty much every track. And with the big name collaborations especially, which we saw in something like Harloff, where even just in For the Dogs with all of the songs where Drake was clearly copying people like Lil Yachty, Abcash, Lil Quayne, well, overall, if Drake is not going to be in the studio with these people and directly stealing their style, I think this song that Drake is previewing from whatever it's going to turn out to be on Iceman is showing us what exactly Drake is doing creatively for this project, which clearly, so far from what we can see, it's not going to be diving further into himself, trying to make his best music and exploring whatever routes he possibly can as both a writer, but I guess he's not a writer so he can't do that, but just creatively in whatever way to make the most compelling project possible. And while instead of looking at himself in any way, he is just thinking about what artist he can impersonate to try and create a sound that's recreating a feeling from something on his old albums that people love that came from other artists in the first place. And just with this and seeing the position Drake has put himself in, and now he is seemingly standing in to try and prove one of the pettiest and most arrogant points that he will definitely regret going down the line, well, honestly, with it you end up seeing the problem with artists who don't actually write their own raps and have their own creative flair, which is just that ultimately when or if they get to this point where they need to come up with ideas by themselves, or they're trying to hold out on working with the rest of the industry to prove whatever point that they are trying to right now, well, for Drake, you just see that he has absolutely nothing left and he has really nothing to contribute to the space, which, to be honest, when you see the producers that Drake is working with such features as Gordo, and while you see that the actual important people from Drake's career are currently missing and nowhere near the Iceman record, you start to see why the music hasn't been very good and why Drake really can't find any sort of momentum. Because aside from relying on so many great artists over the years who don't want anything to do with him anymore, Drake has also lost the most important person who he has ever had to getting any sort of a thing close to an original sound, and while really getting any sort of an identity. And what I'm referring to is, well, none other than the one and only OVO 40, and really with his presence missing, even the Drake stans are starting to realize that this is one of the reasons why Drake is failing, which, well, none other than DJ Akademiks noticed as well. When talking about why things for Drake are missing, he just said this, which I'm just gonna show you, to show that this isn't just me saying it now, but, well, the Drake fans are as well.
I want to say, I do feel like Drake's music sounds a little bit different, and I honestly believe the difference is 40. And maybe I'm just completely off base, and Drake fans I am, but there's certain things that was very profound about Drake's music, like certain paths in terms of production wise, and certain of just blending, and he had a really
or tied to a producer / engineer, and someone who has creative vision, like 40, that becomes your sound and style. Has he been around? I'm pretty sure, he's going to be doing his thing, but most of that stuff. Okay. Yeah. I think I seen. Oh, did I see 40? I thought I saw 40. Where's his name? 40. Where's 40 at? Am I tripping? Usually no, that's not. Huh. What? Let me look up his last name, Shabib. Okay. Spider-Man contains a sample written by... Oh, but that's only a sample. Did 40 not participate at all? All right, I must be tweaking. Am I tweaking, Chet? Yeah. I think that Gordo picture was definitely AI. But chat, on some real, it was 40 not involved with some sexy songs for you. I can't find him on any of the credits here. Noel Kadastra, I think that's the engineer. I'm tripping, right? Boy Wonder definitely was involved. Wonder's gonna be in there somewhere. I forgot what Wonder's real name is, but yeah, I know he's in there somewhere. Huh. Let me see. Let's go back to 1OG Higgs. Okay. We see him on blue, red, green. For all the dogs. Let me see. I'm just looking for 40. Well, he's executive producing all these joints anyway, though, right? Because he usually makes his whole thing. Usually, yeah. So he'll involve in For All the Dogs. Interesting. Definitely Her Loss. He'll be on too. Let me go to Her Loss though. Let me see. I don't know. I think I'm just used to 40 being really dominant in crafting the sound. I think it's starting to play Love Board. 40 is all over, right? 100%. Pretty much every song. Yeah. 40. Yeah. Even if he didn't produce the beat, he kind of adds he adds the Drake flair to everything. Yeah. You see 40's name all over. Even if he's not the main producer, this is Certified Lover Boy. Yeah. We need 40 on this. Yeah. We need 40 and sprinkled in some type of condiment. He's like pepper. He's like ketchup. He's hustler. It's we need the boy. You feel me? Let me see. Scary Hours 2. Let's look at not Darkling Demos. Let's go back to not Care Package. Let's go back to Scorpion. Scorpion is gonna be right there. I guarantee he's all over Scorpion. Facts, right? Yeah. Everything has 40 on it, pretty much. 40 or more, but Wonder, yeah. 40, but Wonder, yeah. Again, I know Drake is cooking up, but we need more 40. Facts. I'm telling you, 40 he's synonymous with the sound of Drake more than any producer for Drake. He would be let me see, give me another artist and give me a producer that matches what you think 40 is for Drake. Future Metro, but I've seen Future work with some other producers too and go crazy too. I don't know, am I tripping now? Yeah, I'm looking at the album, Some Sexy Songs for You, and I don't really see much contribution for him.
I hope he's doing well. I'm pretty sure he is. And so, yeah, while Akademiks is kind of still trying to walk around the things, and I'm sure he doesn't want Drake to really reveal what is going on and why 40 isn't there to save him right now, you really just do notice that something is so clearly off with Drake and everything he's trying to pull off. And I can't help but believe that the guy who really did give him the most sonic direction on all of his most iconic projects just not being anywhere near this record. And, well, again, even on SSS for You, the only songs that he had any sort of a credit on were songs that sampled older Drake records. Well, again, we are just finding out so much. And honestly, for Drake, one of the reasons why I am going to make this prediction that Iceman is going to be the most catastrophic album in terms of how bad it's going to be received and how much of a negative effect it is going to have on the artist who made it. And, well, the entire history of hip-hop? I'm going that far. Well, it's all going to be because really with this record and what Drake is trying to do, it is the full circle moment just in terms of him learning that, well, there is consequences for every single thing he has done in his career. And, well, that he is finally going to have to face the mistakes that he has made for decades in a fashion like he never has before. As even with the featuring in and of itself, with Drake not wanting to work with artists, already that is exposing a weak point in Drake's creative membrane that, well, is being exposed throughout every single more and more. And with this song, and I'm sure with the record, it's really going to be a glaring issue if Drake doubles down on that, as people are just going to see that Drake is going to have nothing else to do other than trying to make weird songs that are cover versions of what other artists would do if he is impersonating them or if they are impersonating him. I don't even know. But the point is, nobody wants to hear Drake try to operate as a cover band. And I guess nobody wants to really hear him at all, clearly. But really, I don't even think his fans are going to want to hear this weird karaoke version of Drake or whatever other garbage you want to call it. And, you know, beyond just the outside collaborators and people who have contributed to the musical canon of Drake's catalog at this point, the other issue now is that within Drake's own inner circle, he is also now owning up to all of the failures and mistakes he has made as a leader, a friend, and a collaborator to them, which I think we are seeing most prominently right now with whatever is going on between Drake and 40. As now, to just give some background for those who don't know, as 40 allegedly, according to Pusha, T was the source that was able to help Push find out that Drake was hiding a child in Adonis, as well. Pusha told Joe Budden in their ever iconic interview that 40 ended up telling the girl that he was with that, well, Pusha T also had connections and sources too with that moment. And, well, they seemed to get over it at the time, and they have had a decent relationship, Drake and 40, in terms of just being seen in public and working in the earlier part of this decade so far. Who knows how the relationship may have changed and how now that things have finally settled, and even just the tension from the Push of T beef and the message and really just the franticness of Drake trying to recover from it. Well, that's all in the past. And maybe just with the perspective everybody has from the situation, this is why Drake and 40 are not talking now, as one just completely lost all the trust for the other. And I don't know who is really wrong here, but what I do know is that without Drake having 40, without having his input for these projects, Drake is really struggling right now. And, you know, at this point, if this is really what Drake is trying to play at 3 a.m. to scare everybody and show that Iceman is coming, this downfall is about to get so much worse, and I generally don't know where it can go from here, but I definitely do know now that it will get lower. And so with all that said, let me know, what do you think about this new Drake snippet? What do you think it's showing for Iceman? Does it raise your expectations for the project by any bit, or does it make you feel like I do, which is a lot more worried for the fact that this is going to be the biggest musical catastrophe that we really have seen in years and years in any genre? Now, listen, you made it to this point of the video. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, sticking around and supporting. It really does mean a lot. And, well, if you made this point, really, make sure to leave a like. It helps me out a ton. And now, listen, if you want to see how right before this, while I was talking about why this Iceman project really is about to be so bad, and it's because within Drake's personal life, well, things are really getting bad for him, as he is potentially on the verge of bankruptcy, potentially. You're not going to want to miss this one, so check on the suggested video.